Okay. Uh, Zach Woodlee, you were the choreographer on Grease Live, which Grease is, of course, one of the most beloved musicals of all time. So did you feel any pressure whatsoever working on this?
An immense amount of pressure. Because everyone loves it and every single person, musical fan or not, knows Grease. So, you know, very, very scary.
Well, how did you get the job on this?
Through our producer, Mark Platt. I got a call one day and he said he was just putting together a team of people that he, you know, wanted to work together. And I said yes, and then we're in.
So you're in, and now you've got to put your unique stamp on this. How do you do that? Fingers crossed. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a lot, you know, because you know, taking something that everyone's so familiar with and trying to make it your own is very, you know, it's like we said, it's very nerve-wracking. It's you know, the hand jive, for example. It's everyone knows the hand jive, but you know, we were adding so many new elements to the show. I figured let's just roll the dice and see, you know, what we come up with, and I'm really happy we did. I think, you know, for audience members, it's nice to see a fresher version of something that they've, you know, that they all know so well.
Mm-hmm. Well, talk a little bit about the process of choreographing a dance number. How do you start with that?
Usually the left foot or the right. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, I mean, it all depends on, you know, conceptually where you're going with it. Something like hand jive, that was, a lot of that started with math. A lot of that was tracking. It was probably the most difficult number I've ever done in my life, because if anyone was, you know, 6 inches off, they'd either run into each other or run into camera or run into a bleacher. I mean, it was, everything was mapped out. So that sort of started with my skeleton crew tracking. Each of them had 2 tracks, so they would know when an invisible person was crossing one way and that they could go another way, and then we start building steps and things on top of them. So, but then there's other numbers that are, you know, it really all depends on the feel of it. Then, you know, Grease Lightning, it was trying to make sure we had time to get the car changed over. So we had to put a section over here so we could shoot one way, change the car another way, come back to it. I mean, there's so many answers.
Well, take us a bit through the rehearsal process of it.
Wow. So I started with 6 dancers for a week and tried to work out as much material on their bodies as we possibly could. What works, what doesn't. So, you know, Grease Lightning started with 6 dancers on a table, and just seeing where that sort of could morph into what it would be like when we actually had, you know, 20 people in the room. And then, you know, a lot of just testing the material and see if it felt right in the body, and you know, what works before we actually got the full cast, because that was really, really crunch time. At that point, it's just throwing so much material at them. But yeah, and then a lot of late nights reworking and rethinking.
Well, one of the great things about musicals, especially in the rehearsal process, it is kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. You know, like you're working on the dance, someone else is working on the music, someone else is working on the dramatic storytelling elements, and you start to weave those things together. So can you talk a bit about that process?
Yeah, I mean, and to add another layer to that is we're also using camera. So yeah, I mean, the team, it's the most collaborative experience I've ever had in my life. I mean, we, you know, trying to morph the film version and the stage version into a musical that we're presenting on television. Had a lot of challenges. I mean, but at the same time, the team really knew how to sort of piggyback on each other's work, as opposed to, I mean, we were never at a standstill with like, oh, what do we do next? It was a race towards the finish to just make sure that everything was as good as we could possibly get it, rain or not.
Yeah, so I spoke with your production designer
David.
2 weeks ago, and yeah, he talked about how you guys almost got rained out of your production. So at the 11th hour, what was that like?
Of course, it was. Oh, we've done so much, you know. But it was sort of like the rest of the project. It was really we have to make this work moment, and you know, Mark Platt had made the decision that come rain or shine, we're going with it, and if that means holding an umbrella, then that means holding an umbrella. I mean, Jessie J is phenomenal. She, you know, she said no matter what, she's not having an umbrella, so let it rain. So we did an alternate version with some umbrellas just to make sure that for the next scene we didn't have a lot of wet people in it. But you know, it was with live, I've come to understand, like, if it can happen, it will. So
it is really amazing to watch this this live broadcast and see the way that you know, you're moving from like indoors to outdoors. You're using all these different sets and sound stages, and the cameras weaving around. Talk a bit about that conceptually.
Well, you know, the cameras, in a way, not even in a way, they definitely were able to help us achieve things that we couldn't achieve just on stage. You know, and there was a big example was, of course, in Grease Lightning, because you know, I was really against the idea of having my ensemble and my dancers run in with dancing with bumpers. I mean, if we don't have to, let's not. So, you know, that's a great example. I think that we were able to take cameras and use them to our advantage. You know, if you saw the off-camera version of Grease Lightning, it's literally 8 burly crew guys like running like the elephants in the tutus, like with bumpers, like hurrying to get this car together. I think it was something ridiculous, like 15 or 16 seconds that they had to put that car together. So it was, you know, I think for us, being able to use the cameras is also what made the show what it really was.
So talk a bit about your background, because you know you've worked on a number of films. You kind of worked your way up from dancer to associate choreographer to choreographer. You've danced with a lot of really great people. I saw you'd been a background dancer for Madonna, I think. That was so. Talk a bit about your background and what led to this.
The short version. Well, I grew up dancing. My parents met dancing. They had a dance studio. I have 3 brothers. We all grew up doing it. And then I came out to LA, joined a scholarship program, and then finished that, and then went straight into working as a dancer. And then after I finished Madonna, I was pretty much, it was time. My body wasn't able to do what it used to. And then I started assisting Ann Fletcher and Adam Shankman. They're amazing, amazing mentors and have done wonderful things for me. But and then, you know, through that I worked on the first Step Up and Hairspray and all of that, and then assisting, and then eventually moved into choreography, and here we are.
Yeah. What is it that, I want to say, attracts you to dance and to choreography? But I mean, it's a very specific kind of, dare I say, storytelling. You know, the use of your body to convey emotions and things like that? What is it that attracted you to that?
That's a tough question. I guess because I think, as with most sort of sorry, my email.
That's okay.
I think you're just born with it, or born into it. Like, you know, musicians, they hear music and it's a part of their being. I think, you know, it's just something that calls to you, and whether or not you like that or choose to pursue it, it's just something that's, you know, there are actors that they are just born to act, and that's what they enjoy doing. I'm just I like dancing.
Yeah. So Grease Live was phenomenally successful, and it's a part of a string of these live television Broadway events. Why do you think these are so popular? I mean, it's just been like one after another, it seems.
Yeah. I mean, I think part of the allure is, well, I mean, I think there's been a shift as well, as far as people enjoying what a musical can really, the experience can be like. But I think some of the fascination with the live event is it's the Olympics of television, in the fact that, like, these people have trained, and now we have one time. Let's see who is going to be able to pull it off. I mean, it's kind of. I mean, that's why I like it. You know, I think now musicals, because of the last, you know, 5 or 6 years, with so much more material being out into the public, you know, there's so much more singing and dancing, and you know, Glee brought a whole new world of viewerships in a resurgence of musicals. So I think now people also just have a different appetite for what a musical can be.
Mm-hmm. And you know, the thing that's really, I think, extraordinary about what you guys did with Grease Live is that it really does, you know, it calls attention to the fact that it's a stage production, and the fact that you've got a live audience and you've got very artificial looking sets. You know, I mean, you see the backs of things, and you know, you call attention to the theatricality, but it is at the same time, you know, very much a TV event. You know, like you use the cameras very well. Can you talk a bit about that?
About camera?
No, I mean about blending the theatricality with the cinematic.
Yeah, I mean, from the beginning, I know our director, well, both of our directors, Tommy and Alex, and our producer Mark Platt. It was definitely, they wanted to show you everything we were doing. There was never a question of, ooh, do we try and make this feel real and not acknowledge the fact that this is what we're doing. So yeah, from day one, I mean, in David's designs and everything was always to not so much really break the fourth wall, but it show you it. It literally let you see, oh, we know we're here, and we want you to see where we're going. So I think it was a great choice. I think, you know, and you see that in the opening with Jessie J, that, okay, we're starting the show. And I don't see a better way we could have relayed that to the audience, you know, without Jessie's opening number.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it definitely adds a second layer to it. You know, I mean, so often I think there's a choice to make of being either one or the other, but this is a really nice blending of the two.
Yeah, I think, but, oh, sorry, I cut you off.
No, go ahead, Des.
But I think, you know, Grease in itself also allowed us to do that. Like, it is that type of musical that you can do that. Like, it gives you freedoms that you would not have in a lot of other musicals. So we were blessed in that sense as well.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think that was? I mean, that Greece lends itself to that.
I think it's just the material and what, you know, sort of it doesn't take itself too seriously with everything. I mean, come on, musical dropout. I mean, yeah, it lets you have these freedoms that you don't have to take yourself too seriously. Like, we're having a good time. We want you to have a good time. So, party.
Well, thank you so much, and congratulations on your work. And it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Hey, man, take care.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.